Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining Storytime Live today. My name is Julie Kratz, and I'm the author of Little Allies, and I am joined with my co-author of Charlotte Wants a BFF. She's my friend Simone, who is here with me today. Simone and I are excited to host Storytime Live this month because this month's theme is one that is near and dear to our hearts, and that we're celebrating and educating others on the diversity journey. We wrote Charlotte Wants a BFF because we were having conversations at home with our daughters about friendship and diversity and how to be there for somebody different than you. I'm excited to share this story with you and Simone.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Simone, and it's such a pleasure to be with you today. And like Julie, I'm the co author of Charlotte Wants a BFF, which we'll be reading to you today. And I joined Julie in writing this book because we became aware of the lack of diverse books in the industry and felt like we wanted to make a contribution to the world, but we wanted to do it in a unique and creative way. So the beautiful thing about Charlotte Wants a BFF is that it focuses on differences without banging it over your head. So just thrilled to be here with you today. I want you to find the chat box and say hello. Tell us where you're coming to us from. And then tell us what you think of the word ally. What does that mean to you? Then sit back, relax, and enjoy these two stories.
This book was written by Julie Kratz and Edward Mayo, who created the illustrations. It's about a fourth grader named Allie and an important lesson that she learned during her school week. I wonder what she learned. The title of the book is Little Allies, a children's story about inclusion, diversity, and becoming an ally. These are some pretty big words. You know, when people are different, some people might think things about them that are untrue, or they might even treat them differently based on how they look, and they don't even know them. Inclusion is when people who are different feel welcome in a community where everyone is the same. Diversity is a word that describes all the way people are different: skin color, gender, boys, girls, and abilities and disabilities. What are some ways that you have noticed that people are different? The word ally is in the title of the book. An ally is someone who stands up for others that are different. Do you have ideas about what the important lesson Allie learned might be? Let's dive in. Hi, my name is Allie Rogers. I'm in Mr. Clark's fourth grade class at Friendship Elementary. I love school, especially math and science, but what I love the most is playing with my friends on the playground. I learned something really important this week. It all began on Monday during recess when I was playing tag with Prisha and Tommy. Tommy chased us around the swings and he pointed at Prisha and said, "You don't belong here." Prisha stopped running and turned to Tommy. "Why don't I belong?" Tommy said, "You're different. You're not from here." What do you think about what Tommy said? This makes me think of the words from the cover, diversity and inclusion. What do you think? How do you think Prisha felt? You see, last week, Prisha brought in Indian clothes for show and tell. It was really cool to learn about her family. They have a special festival called Diwali. It is important to them, just like Christmas is to my family. Did Tommy think Prisha didn't belong because her family was from India? This made me feel weird. I didn't know what to do. Tommy hurt Prisha's feelings and I wanted to make her feel better. What would you do? Tommy's words really hurt Prisha's feelings. How would you feel if someone was mean to your friend? What do you think you would do? Finally, I said to Tommy, Prisha is my friend. She belongs just like you do. She's fun to play with, and I like learning about India and her family. I think Tommy was surprised because he just stood there looking at us. What do you think about what Allie said? How do you think Prisha felt to hear her say those words? What do you think Tommy was thinking at the moment? Once we were back in class, Tommy did something neither one of us expected. Tommy said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but I don't understand why you don't celebrate Christmas. Everyone I know celebrates Christmas. Tommy's apology helped Prisha feel better. She was even brave enough to tell him more about Diwali. Diwali is a lot like your Christmas. We celebrate it as a family and light diyas. They're like candles. Diyas outshine the darkness. Like your Christmas is a special time for my family. It was amazing. I watched two kids become friends right before my eyes. Tommy and Prisha's new friendship was not all that happened that week. Let me tell you about my friend Henry. On Tuesday, before language arts class, my friend Henry looked a bit confused. So I asked Henry, are you okay? You see, I knew Henry was supposed to go to his special day class while we had reading. His teacher must have been late meeting him. Henry nodded. I'm okay. He didn't look okay. He looked scared. Henry looked like he needed a friend. I asked, Henry, what is it like to go to your special day class? Allie's friend Henry has a disability, so he learns differently than other children in the class and sometimes needs help from a special teacher. What do you know about special teachers or other special classes? Henry's face lit up. I love going to my special classes. My teacher says that I have special powers. I'm so glad I waited with him. Instead of being scared, Henry was excited to tell me all about his class. Now I wait with him every day and he tells me funny stories. This is how I see Henry now. It sounds like Allie learned something new about Henry this week. What do you think she learned? On Wednesday during snack time, Mr. Clark read a story. It was about different jobs like firefighters and bankers, and then he asked us to share where our parents worked. This sounds like a regular day at school, right? Well, it wasn't. It was a really big deal. Let me tell you about my friend Jack. Jack raised his hand. When Mr. Clark caught him and he said, my moms are both doctors. Both your moms? Prisha asked. She was probably thinking Jack had just said it wrong. Jack said with a huge smile, yep, both of them. They're the best moms in the world. Jack is my friend. He invited me to his birthday party this summer. I learned that instead of having both a mom and a dad, Jack has two moms. Isn't that cool? So just like people, not all families are the same. Who do you live with? What are some ways families can be different? Yasmin pulled on Jack's pant leg. What about your dad? How does he feel about two moms? The whole class watched quietly, confused. I don't have a dad. My moms are my parents, Jack said, sitting back down. The smile was gone. A few of the kids looked at each other surprised. You know what I thought? This was just like what happened between Prisha and Tommy in the playground. My friends needed to learn more about Jack's family to really understand what was going on. How do you think Jack was feeling? How do you think this might be like what happened with Prisha and Tommy? Mr. Clark knew just what to say. I was glad because I was too shy to say something with the whole class listening. Every family is different, and isn't that what makes each one of us special? What is most important is that the families are filled with love. Thank you for sharing about your parents, Jack. I bet they know how important it is to do your homework and eat your broccoli. The whole class groaned. I guess they didn't like homework or broccoli. On Thursday, I spent time with my friend Lucia. Lucia and I like to color together during free time. Her family is from Mexico and she speaks a different language. Isn't that cool? I only speak English, but Lucia is so smart, she speaks Spanish too. Sometimes kids tease Lucia because she doesn't always know the English words. I think this is why she's quiet at school. Lucia told me she likes when I help her find the right words when we sit in color. I love it when she teaches me the Spanish words. What do you think it'd be like to go to a school where everyone speaks a different language? How do you feel if kids teased you because you didn't know all the right words? What would you want your friends to know? Later in PE class, Coach asked us to line up. The girls were on one side and the boys were on the other side. My friend Sam stood in the middle of the gym looking from one side to the other. Coach pointed for Sam to join the boys' side. But Coach didn't realize that Sam did not identify as a boy or a girl. Sam had explained to me that this is known as gender non-binary. Sam looked really scared, so I stood next to Sam for support. Coach looked a little confused. Then Coach announced, kids born between January and June on my left, those born in July through December on my right. We were on the same team now. I was so happy Coach knew how to make Sam feel more included. Sam walked past the coach and smiled. Thanks, Coach. Can you think of other ways that Coach might have divided the kids, not just based on gender? You're probably wondering where I'm going and when I'm going to tell you what I've learned. I'm almost there. Just let me tell you about my friend Yasmin. Last week we had twin day. We were supposed to dress up like another kid in our class. Yasmin had decided to be twins. We both have long hair, the same pink shirt, and royal crowns from our matching Halloween costumes. Remember Tommy from Monday's story? Well, he didn't have a twin. I guess he wasn't excited about twin day like some of my other friends. When Mr. Clark was taking our picture, Tommy asked, Allie, who were you supposed to be twins with? I looked at him like he had 3 heads and pointed at Yasmin. We even wore matching sneakers and jeans. From head to toe, we matched. You can't be twins. Yasmin's nothing like you. She's black. I was so glad Yasmin knew what to say to Tommy because I didn't. Yasmin said, Tommy, we know we don't look exactly alike. How could we? Nobody's exactly like someone else. Tommy looked confused. Yasmin continued, my skin color and hair are beautiful, and so is Allie's. We can be twins because we're both beautiful and smart. I still felt really weird about what Tommy said, but I didn't know how to make it better. I wanted to say, Yasmin's exactly like me. She's smart, brave, and my best friend. Her black skin didn't change any of that. Why do you think Allie felt so uncomfortable? Has anyone ever said something to you that made you feel uncomfortable? What happened? Thankfully, Mr. Clark said something that helped all of us. It's okay to call someone black, Tommy. What's not okay is if you say it in a way that makes someone feel like they are less because of their color of their skin. Tommy must have felt bad because I saw tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, Yasmin. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Now that I think about it, you and Allie are a lot alike. What do you think Tommy learned? Have you learned anything from this story? Tell me more. This is the part I've been waiting to tell you about. I promise all my stories will make sense in a minute. So every Friday, Mr. Clark asked us to share what we've learned during the week. For once, I am ready with my answer. We're finally going to learn what she learned. What do you think it could be? Mr. Clark said, class, share what we've learned this week. Do we have any volunteers? I raised my hand. Mr. Clark pointed at me. Allie, why don't you tell us about what you've learned? I learned that my friends aren't exactly like me. They're unique and different. I think that makes all of us interesting. Mr. Clark nodded. That's really good, Allie. Tell us more. We all have different abilities, skin colors, and religions. Some of us have different kinds of families or speak different languages. Our differences make us unique and special, but we're all kids who have fun together. We all like to play hide and seek on the playground. We like to eat lunch and laugh. We want to have friends and tell jokes. I took a deep breath. That was the most I'd ever said in front of the whole class. I sat back down. My face felt weirdly hot. I don't like to talk in front of the whole class, but I had something really important to share. Then Mr. Clark said something really cool. Did you know that Allie's name also has another meaning? It's spelled the same, but you can say it like this. Ally. Do you know what that word means? Everyone was quiet. An ally is someone who helps others that are different. An ally is there for you when you're teased or when someone treats you unfairly. It can be a teacher, a parent, a friend. Does that make sense? To be unique is to have something special that no one else has. Think about what's unique about you. Everyone looked a bit confused, even me. Mr. Clark said, it's funny, Allie taught us something important today. We can see how we are different, but that doesn't mean we don't have to treat people differently. Then he asked, how can you be an ally to kids that are different than you? Think about your friends and what you have in common. What things are different? I decided right then I am committing to be an ally to my classmates. I will listen and learn more about them. When I know more about my friends, I can see how alike we really are, and this makes me a better friend and an ally to everyone. You're welcome to check out the Ally Promise. It simply says, I believe in equality. I commit to being an ally for others. I want to be there for people that are different than me. I ask questions in a way that is respectful. I'm curious. I empathize with others, and I listen to learn more. Thank you, and please enjoy The Little Allies.
The title of this book is Charlotte Wants a BFF. The authors are Julie Kratz and Simone Morris and Audva Joseph, who is the illustrator for this book. BFF is a word that is made using the first letters of a group of words. Have you heard anyone use the word BFF before? Do you know what the letters in BFF stand for? Best friends forever. Why do you think Charlotte wants a BFF?
Yeah, I think we've always, I remember as a kid always wanting a BFF, and I love this story. The first page of the book, after you open the cover page, is a dedication to our daughters who also want BFFs and are an inspiration for our work. And then about this book. This page just tells us a little bit about what the book will be about and who it was written for. I'm excited to learn more. Before we read the book, let's take a moment to look at all of the illustrations to get more of an idea of what it will be about. What do you see as you look at the images? And what do you think is happening? What questions do you have? What do you think we're going to find out about these characters?
Let's get started. We're going to be on this page. The whoosh of the school bus doors closed behind Charlotte. It was the end of another school day at Shoshone Elementary. Charlotte rode the bus home by herself again. As the bus drove away, she saw kids paired up. Brian was laughing with Sam, and Charlie was sitting with Miguel. Emma was chatting with Mia. They all had best friends. Where was hers? When would she find a best friend? Charlotte walked into her house feeling down. Her dad was there waiting for her. Hi, sweetie. How was your day? He could always tell when something was wrong. Why do you look so sad, Charlotte? Charlotte sighed and sat down on the couch. I want a BFF. Remember, best friend forever. More than anything, Dad. Her dad said, look around at school tomorrow. Who knows where your BFF is? You will find them when you are ready. Charlotte worried that she would never find a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte longed for a best friend, someone she could play with after school every day, a friend to last forever. She wanted someone to ride bikes with, practice gymnastics, dance, and make crafts together. Where was her BFF? I want you to think for a moment. What do you like to do with your friends and classmates? What activities do you like to do? And what are some of the things that you would like to do with a BFF?
Yeah, I think just like Charlotte, I really enjoy talking with friends. Simone and I love talking together as friends, spending time together and being outside and spending time with our families. What do you like? All right, next page. So in art class, Charlotte sat next to John. He was drawing a snake and pretended it was going to bite her. Charlotte was already afraid of snakes. John probably would not be the perfect BFF for her. Why do you think John was not the right BFF for Charlotte? How would you know if a BFF is perfect for you?
Hmm.
At recess, Charlotte scanned the playground. Could Sophia be her new BFF? Charlotte joined Sophia and watched her swing as high as she could. When Charlotte swung too high, it made her stomach feel funny. Then Sophia's other friends ran past, and Sophia left without saying goodbye. Charlotte knew a BFF would ask her to come along.
Mhm.
In math class, Charlotte looked around for her new BFF. She had been looking all day and still had not found anyone. All the kids were working in pairs, but Charlotte was alone. Where could my BFF be? At the end of the day, Charlotte packed up her things and left the classroom. A piece of paper fell out of her backpack. It went whizzing around the classroom. Finally, it landed at the feet of another girl's desk, but Charlotte didn't notice. She was late for the bus. Taylor picked up the paper from under her foot. Charlotte's name was written on it. She had a few classes with Charlotte, but had never talked to her. She seemed quiet but nice. Taylor ran to catch up with Charlotte, but she was too late. The next day during free time, Taylor saw that Charlotte was playing alone and gathered the courage to join her. I found this on the floor yesterday. I couldn't catch you in time. Oh, I have been looking for this. Charlotte shyly smiled. I like your drawing. Taylor nodded at the image on the page. Thanks. I'm Charlotte, but I guess you knew that from my paper. Taylor nodded. I'm Taylor. Can I play with you? Charlotte nodded and offered Taylor a puzzle piece.
At recess, Charlotte and Taylor played together on the jungle gym. Their next class was science, and they worked on an experiment and then drew pictures of a volcano erupting. At the end of the day, they walked to the bus together. Wow, you're a really good drawer, Charlotte, Taylor said as they stood waiting for the bus. Thanks, you are good at science. Taylor, how did you know so much about volcanoes? Taylor shrugged. The bus arrived and they boarded it. Charlotte sat in her usual seat and was surprised when Taylor sat next to her. They talked the entire bus ride to her street. Charlotte burst through her front door. Daddy, Daddy, I found my BFF. Charlotte's dad looked up from the kitchen counter. That is great. Tell me about this BFF. Charlotte was so excited, her words jumbled together, and she's kind, she's smart, she's just so fun to be with. Her dad said, I told you you'd find your BFF soon. What's her name? Charlotte beamed. Her name is Taylor. Now, Charlotte's dad, remember in the beginning of the story, Charlotte's dad told her to look around at school and that she would find her BFF. What do you think? Now she's sharing with her dad that she's found the BFF. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Taylor lived right down the street from Charlotte. They rode the bus to school every day. They played after school, riding bikes, or playing with dolls. Taylor and Charlotte even made up a dance together.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte and Taylor loved playing together. They learned a lot from each other too. Charlotte liked art, and Taylor could not draw well, so Charlotte helped her. Taylor was really good at braiding hair, but Charlotte did not know how, so Taylor taught her. Charlotte was so happy to finally have a best friend. It felt good to have someone she could count on.
And how would it feel to have a BFF after you've been looking for so long? So Taylor had so much in common with Charlotte, but they had their differences too. Taylor hated pickles, and Charlotte was allergic to peanuts. Their skin and hair were different too. Charlotte and Taylor agreed these differences made their friendship stronger. So Charlotte and Taylor are BFFs, but they're not totally alike. They have different interests and are good at different things. How does this help their friendship? Why might having a BFF that is different from you be a good thing? One rainy day, Charlotte was over at Taylor's house. Charlotte was worried about getting her hair wet. It'd be messed up all day. You just need to put it in a ponytail like this. Taylor showed her how to pull it into a ponytail to keep it out of her face. Taylor noticed her hair did not feel like hers. Charlotte, why does your hair feel different than mine? Charlotte was surprised. No one had ever said something like that to her before. That's the way my hair has always been. Did she not like her hair? She was hurt. Just then, Charlotte's dad came to pick her up. The rest of the day, Charlotte had a bad feeling. Maybe they shouldn't be BFFs.
Hey, Julie, did you notice that our hair is different too?
And we've had a lot of conversations about our hair being different. And we appreciate the differences. And we're curious about differences, just like our kids probably are as well. Charlotte was quiet the next day at school. Taylor was worried Charlotte was mad at her, but she didn't even know why. Everything had seemed fine when Charlotte left her house. She wanted to ask Charlotte what was wrong. Did Charlotte not like her anymore? Taylor was worried that they weren't friends anymore.
Taylor knew she had to be brave and talk to Charlotte. After all, she was her closest friend. Charlotte was so smart. She was a great artist, and she always made her laugh. Taylor wanted to be her BFF again. Taylor drew a picture for Charlotte. It wasn't as good as one of Charlotte's drawings, but she hoped it would make Charlotte smile. Taylor used a pink crayon to draw a heart with a jagged line down the middle. Then she wrote across the heart. Finally, she added their names in fancy letters.
How cute.
Taylor shared the picture with Charlotte. Are you mad at me, Charlotte? Charlotte took the paper and smiled. I guess when you said my hair was different, I felt like you did not like it, and that really hurt my feelings. Taylor was surprised this was the reason. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you thought that. I do like your hair. It's one of the few ways that we are different. But you know what? There are so many more ways we are alike. Charlotte hugged Taylor. I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have gotten my feelings hurt.
What a great conversation.
There's that great big hug, BFFs again. Taylor shook her head. I just noticed your hair was different. I didn't mean to make you sad. Can we be BFFs again? Charlotte looked at the picture and couldn't help but forgive her friend. Yes, I want you to be my BFF, Taylor. Our differences make us better together. Don't you think? Taylor smiled. I agree. We can learn so much from each other. After school, Charlotte asked her dad to take a picture of her and Taylor. Charlotte wanted to do something special for her BFF. Taylor had spent a lot of time making the drawing for her. Later that night, Charlotte printed 2 copies of the picture, and with a marker, she wrote BFF on both copies and put one up on her wall. In the morning, she would give the other copy to Taylor. She wanted her to know how happy she was that they were BFFs. Charlotte knew she was stronger with Taylor as her friend. She learned that it was important to work on your friendships, Friends need to talk about their differences and understand each other. If you take the time to know what is in their heart, you can be best friends forever.
So that's the end of the story. What do you think about what happened? Do you agree that Charlotte and Taylor should be BFFs? Why? Or what points did you like? What things did you think could be different? And, at the end of the story, there's an important lesson about friendship. What do you think that Charlotte learned about friendship? Simone and I wrote this story because we are hosts of the Inclusion School podcast. We do this work because it matters, because it's important, and we want to have these conversations earlier with our kiddos. Check out inclusionschool.com. There you can find resources to stay on your own inclusion journey, and you can also learn more about us and the work that we do to support inclusion. We're so thankful for your support.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the story.
Thanks, Simone.
What wonderful stories to help you introduce the ideas of diversity, inclusion, and allyship to your littles at home if you're a parent or in the classroom as a teacher. As an extra treat, Teachstone partnered with us to create free downloadable reading guides to accompany today's stories. These guides will help you replicate the engagement strategies we used with your children. You can find these guides at www.teachstone.com/storytimelive.
And that includes Storytime Live for today. We hope you've enjoyed your time in the stories. If you want to experience more storytelling, visit www.teachstone.com/storytimelive. And if you want to purchase the books we read today, be sure to check out our work at inclusionschool.com.